Hello and welcome. Welcome to Conversations in Education. I am Mrs. Krupinski, your host. Today, our subject is the role of play in kindergarten. We have our first guest here, Miss Anne Swenson.
Hello there, thank you for having me on.
Welcome. Thank you for coming. So you know a lot about the history of kindergarten. Tell me how that feeds into your claim.
So it is a fact that a German philosopher and school teacher named Friedrich Froebel was the inventor of the term kindergarten, and he literally thought of it as a children's garden, which should be filled with flowers and plants and nurture children's curiosity, not meant to be a literal functional classroom.
I always wondered what kindergarten meant. That's interesting.
Yeah, so it comes from German. Germans were the first ones to have kindergartens.
Makes us think twice about that.
So yeah, really just my point is that kindergarten is supposed to be about play, and I really stand by that.
Okay, so we have our...
Thanks for having me on.
Yes, thank you.
Have a good one.
Yes, thank you. So our next guest we have up here is Audrey Breen. She is a researcher from Virginia University. Come on in. Welcome.
Hello there, thanks for having me on.
Yes, it's nice to see you. So I hear you're a really big researcher in the area of children. How does this apply, this problem of kindergarten, apply to our kids?
So going off what Anne said, young children are curious, enthusiastic learners with immense potential, and boxing them into a classroom is just, it's not right. They need that play, and the play really actually helps them nurture their knowledge more than just a classroom setting where you're disciplined and drilling them their times tables and whatnot.
Yeah, that does seem like a very rigid environment for small children.
Yes, and specifically we're talking about 3, 4, 5, and 6-year-olds, because obviously they can't put it off forever, but specifically kindergartners, it's all about play to me, and inquiry and imagination.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me
on.
on.
Nice to talk. Okay, so we have another guest. This one is Bridget Raoul she is a college researcher. Welcome. Hello, Bridget.
Hi there, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today. College researcher, very fancy.
Yes, so with my work, sorry, go ahead and answer your question.
No. You have a different opinion, I hear. What is that?
Oh yes, I actually disagree with the first two guests.
So you like boxing in children?
Well, my opinion from our research is that preschoolers are actually taking the place of kindergartens, of the way we think of them, and that kindergarteners who, at this point with our curriculum, they must be able to do things like count to 100, and most kindergarteners are expected to master 195 skills before first grade. And so with these new waves of preschoolers coming in and teaching our kids most of the things that they would have learned in kindergartens in the past, they're really nurturing the play and the imagination, so that these kids are already ahead of the game by the time they get to kindergarten. Kindergarten is no longer just a playground.
It's interesting, very interesting information. Well, thank you, Bridget, for coming today.
Yes, thank you for having me on.
Yes. Okay, now we are going to bring in a child trends researcher. So, welcome. Let's see who we have here. Well, hello there.
Hi there.
What is it you do?
So I'm a researcher for Child Trends. It's a United States-based nonprofit research center.
Oh, tell me about your data that you have.
So some data that we had is that from 2007, children have shown higher statistics in all cases than kids in 1993. So 3-year-olds to 6-year-olds in recognizing letters, counting to 20 or higher, writing their name and reading, or at least pretending to read. A higher percentage of kids in 2007 can do that than in all 4 of those categories than 1993. So that really goes hand in hand with what Bridget was saying, where kids are actually more advanced going into that age and name group of 3 and 6-year-olds, showing that kindergarten, you can't be caught up in the past, you got to go towards the future, you know?
Okay, well, thank you. I find that very interesting.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me on.
Yes. We are now going to be welcoming a teacher, somebody who's actually in the classroom, to the show. Welcome, teacher. Let's see who we have here. Hello.
Hi there.
What is your what is it you do?
So I'm a teacher, and
what are your thoughts on play?
so I'm going to go ahead and go in a separate direction here to change the subject. And my focus is more on children relying on television and video games and movies and their phones when they really, what they need is the imaginative play. Because these children, they're stuck on their technologies, and like nowadays in the 21st century, these iPads and iPhones and all that stuff is just, it's really taking away what the children really need, which is to go outside and to touch grass and to play with toys and play with others. Socializing is really a really important factor here with these kids, is that they're just in their houses.
Yeah.
A lot of these kids don't have siblings, you know, and if they do, maybe they just don't even talk to their siblings. It's really important to go outside, socialize, play, use your imagination, develop your mind, because the human mind is so vast and has so much potential. And these kids are just not taking advantage of it, especially the parents too.
Yeah, I mean, I have this picture here.
Well, let's
you
take a
know,
look at this picture.
this picture of this girl. She is, her headphones are on. She's staring at her iPad. She is just locked on. She is not experiencing anything outside of that screen.
Right, and so this,
Can you describe what you're seeing here, or tell me about it?
so I personally recognize that this is just a show of our development as a planet, that we've developed this technology that is very helpful. You know, it's a faster way to learn, it's a faster way to communicate. But with children ages 3 to 6, it's hard to just have them glued to these iPads all hours of the day. Because if this girl was just learning one thing on this iPad that you really couldn't do anything else with the iPad, that'd be fine. But she's not, you know, she's just glued into the iPad like she's addicted, like she's been on it before, and she has her headphones, she has it plugged in so it never runs out of battery. Let's go ahead and show the people this again. Like, you can see that she could be there for hours on end.
Yeah, that's a sad picture.
And so, you know, that's why, going off what the two first sources said, kindergarten, you really need to set the standard. So this is really a call to action for all you parents out there, that you need to prioritize your kids' future. You can't just be lazy and say, here's my phone, play Candy Crush. You really need to look out for them, because they need to have that play and that nurtured mind, to have inquiry and ask questions and be curious. And that goes hand in hand with the first source we were saying about how kindergarten needs to be about play, while also kind of conceding to the sources C and D that we're talking about how kindergarten is more advanced and evolved today. And really it all comes down to the children needing to be nurtured more. And you need to find that happy medium between technology and discipline and like drilling, with also just still having the recess or the play outside and with others, with other kids.
Yes. Well, thank you very much.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, welcome. We are now going to bring in Kyan Krupinski. He is an advanced placement language student from Williamsfield High School. Come on in, sir. Welcome.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate that, yeah.
Yeah, you are a good-looking kid. You must have met your mother.
Oh, I get that a lot.
Yeah, welcome.
Hi there. So after hearing these sources and all the things they have to say, I really think that kindergartens need to stay play-centric, and the sources, I feel like, back that up. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I definitely agree. I think that children need to be busy-bodied young people so that when they get to school, they can be focused. Instead, we have really good ABCers and horrible wiggly kids.
Yeah, so when I was looking at the options because I had a choice for which prompt to pick, I really thought this kindergarten option was good, because I knew I had passion for it. Like, I knew that was something I liked and I related to, is these kids and their futures and whatnot. And also my mom here, she works in schools. How is that, like, mindset helped you in this?
Well, I definitely have to say that children can show up counting, but they cannot sit down. If you don't plug them in, then they don't stop moving. So I agree with you 100% that they need to be busy learning actively till about 5-6 years of age. Then they can focus on more academics once they've learned to control their body. Until you can control your body, you cannot control your mind.
It's a really good quote right there. And even then, even in above kindergarten, first grade, mentions first grade in here too, and so on. Recess is still important. As me personally, they made it less and less every year until high school. There's obviously no recess. Middle school there was no recess, but we had lunch where we could play basketball, and it's definitely important to have that outlet to get out all your jitters and whatnot.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for your information today. I appreciate your time.
So thank you. You have a great show here. I hope there's just many more episodes and so much profit from this podcast. I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm sure it's going to take off.
Yes, I think many people would want to listen to me talk for hours.
I agree.
Yes.
I mean, I barely do, so it'd be hard.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on.
Yes, thank you so much.
Have a good one.